All right, Miss Megan, so they want to become good social dancers, but it's tricky, isn't it?
It is, definitely.
It is tricky. So you might be nervous, you might be confused, learning a lot of stuff, you might be watching videos, taking group classes, private lessons. We had someone recently that was nervous about asking someone to dance. They'd gotten over it here in the studio and they went out into the bigger dance world and they were too nervous to ask someone else. So in this video, we're going to talk about what you should be learning, what you should be focusing on, and what happens when it goes wrong, because it will go wrong internally. So let's cover that right up front. People will get nervous at every level.
Definitely.
You will feel like you're stalled in your progress, so we're going to help you
from time to time.
From time to time. So when we're talking about what to learn, I'm going to give you two completely different theories. So we were talking about this off camera, and one of the ways that you can work through this is to learn similar styles. So you might say, I want to learn waltz, foxtrot, tango, cha-cha, rumba, swing, and hustle, and all this stuff.
So many dances.
So many dances. But you might say, I just want to focus on the ballroom stuff because it's similar holds, similar concept. So one way you could go about it, it's not the only way, is to focus. So what are some similar dance styles?
So if you're just sticking with like smooth dance styles, you got waltz, tango, and foxtrot. Those are going to all be held the same way.
And then on the other side, you might have like cha-cha, rumba, mambo, salsa, even, you know, where the concepts are the same, right? You go, I'm dancing cha-cha, and I have the basic of cha-cha, and it has cross-body leads. Well, salsa has cross-body leads, and rumba has cross-body leads, right?
Yeah.
So there is a theory that you could pick one similar style and work on the Latin dances to understand the concepts. But another one Megan brought up was you could dance completely different styles so that you don't get
confused. This is more so for the leaders.
Yeah, for the leaders. So if you're a leader and you have a gajillion rumba and cha-cha patterns in your brain and you can't see the similarities in them, you might say, hey, look, I just want to learn cha-cha over here and waltz over here because it's completely different. I'm not going to get confused. So depending upon where you are, I'd say in the beginning you can choose either one of those paths. As you get going, and this gets into number 2, what to focus on. So obviously, what's number 1, Miss Megan?
The basics.
The basics. You have to fundamentally understand the basics, be able to dance on time. So if you cannot put on a song to cha-cha and dance your cha-cha basic, or dance a waltz box all by yourself to the music, you need to focus on your basics. Number 2 is you're leveling up, let's say, let's just use waltz, right? You want to start to work with similar moves. And we put out a video not too long ago where we're going to make Chris do this. We did reverse and natural turns, right? Reverse and natural turns, but then we did reverse and natural turns with some underarm turns, right? So you're taking something basic that you know and layering on. So when we get to the intermediate level, you want to understand a dance and then understand let's say a cross-body lead in cha-cha, and then you can learn cross-body lead variations, right? So an example would be if I'm dancing a cross-body lead in cha-cha, right? Megan can dance across my body and I know all the fundamental stuff. But I also could use cross-body pullbacks as a variation. I could also use swivels as a variation. So that's, I think, one of our favorite ways as we get into the intermediate level is to understand a dance, understand the position of the dance, and then branch out and know 2, 3, 4 variations for that. That's different leaders and followers because I have to remember all of them, and Megan has to know that they're possible because maybe I remember them or maybe I don't. Another thing of what to focus on as you go, and this is where we segue into thinking about, you have private lesson teachers, you have group classes, you have social dancing, you have practicing with a partner, you have practicing alone, and then you have our videos. So identifying important concepts is also going to be important. So we just shot the reverse and natural turns, right and left turns for waltz. Excuse me. So you want to know that those concepts exist so you can focus on the subtleties of them so you can build around them, right? Focus on your abilities as the leader and as the follower. But Miss Megan, number 3, what happens when it goes wrong?
When it goes wrong,
what could go wrong?
You can get discouraged. What goes wrong? Well, you can mess up your footwork, you can not lead your partner in the right place, or you can not follow. Big one for the followers there.
And then you go home and you feel defeated, and welcome to the club. We've all been there. I remember the first time I went out partner dancing for the first time, super intimidated, thought everyone knew more than me. I tell people when they come to our weekend events, I don't care how cool you are in your hometown, the coolest person in your studio. You walk in a room with 650 people, you go through the intimidation again. Now you get to be the best person in that room, but you go to the national championships and you're intimidated again, right? So it's gonna happen at every level. So don't quit, know that that's normal. You're gonna get to those plateaus. This is where the final tip, and as much as when we started doing videos, people said that you're trying to replace the private lesson teacher, and it actually works in reverse. First of all, none of my students watch my videos. That's the first of all. Why? Because they can get access to me one-on-one, and it's very specific. So these videos provide a good spot we have found for people who, I met a girl, fun story, in Phoenix, Arizona. I was out country swing dancing. I know very little about country swing. She had seen our West Coast Swing video. She's been out West Coast Swing dancing twice, but she watched our practice alone video.
There you go.
And learned how to dance West Coast Swing by herself. She has 4 children. Don't remember her name, so I can't tell you who she is. She isn't able to get out and dance much, doesn't have a regular dance partner. She can use the videos to fill in the gap. Yes. But when you get to the point that you do have access to a private lesson teacher, they become your best resource. Mm-hmm. Why do you think they're the best resource, Miss Megan?
Because first of all, you can get one-on-one help or instruction, and
that will help in all areas.
Also, if you continue with them, they know where to focus on.
That's my biggest advice, and I'm going to segue a video about dancing into how you should not use video, in that your private lesson teacher can become your #1 resource. So if you find the right person for you and develop a relationship long term. So I like to tell my students, and the way that I work best with my students is, when you say, here's where I'm at, here's where I want to get to, right? And I'm going to let you guide me. And that's why I've been proud that a lot of teachers come and say, my students bring your videos, and the teachers don't want to attack me in the hallway, because we're hopefully bringing reasonable videos, reasonable moves that people can actually do on the dance floor. But then their private lesson teacher is able to help them implement the strategies and the techniques and the moves in that video. So if you can develop a relationship with a private lesson teacher or a studio, that's the best bet. Anything else, Miss Megan? I have a warning sign, but I'm gonna let you.
Warning sign. You know, just if you're trying to learn your stuff and get better, practice is always gonna be your best thing.
Oh, we waited till the end to drop practice.
Practice. I love practice.
Do you love practice? I like practice. I like the results that practice gave me is what I like.
Yes.
And when we competed, we had a very systematic way to our practices. So for instance, in waltz, we would we'd work with our instructors, and we would practice our concepts at least 50% by ourselves before we ever touched each other's hands. And some of my students come in and they say, yeah, but I need to learn to partner. And I would say, Miss Megan knows how to partner you. You actually need to be better at your part. The better you get, the better Miss Megan is able to use the skills that she has.
True.
So by leveling up your games in a systematic practice, and don't beat yourself up over it. Show up 15 minutes before class, look at your video from the last class, walk through it. It will make an immeasurable difference. And if you can ever cut out some actual time to practice on your own, that will dynamically increase. The way that I've described it, this is to Erin. I said, you know, if you take 1 class a week, at the end of the year, you have 50 classes minus Christmas and your birthday week, right? If you can add 15 minutes extra, you've jumped ahead almost 4 months. If you can add an hour a week extra of practice, you will improve in 1 year what it takes someone else to do in 2 years. And that works. I mean, there's a law of diminishing returns, but any little bit you can add significantly increases. So hopefully that's helpful. If you're struggling, you're on the struggle bus, you're not alone. We've all been there. If you haven't been over to the website yet, definitely head over to socialdanceonline.com. You can try it here 14 days free. We're building it out. By the time you see this video, we might have our apps launched for Android and iPhone. The membership, we've really spent a lot of time making it really easy to use to help guide you step by step to become a great dancer, to look good on the dance floor, improve your confidence, and dance your way through life, Megan. See you guys on the floor soon.